He's going to give the 5 count, isn't he?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to, yes, another edition of Topic Time with Harrison Young. This time, a rare Friday edition of Topic Time with Harrison Young. We didn't last holiday season because both New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve fell on Wednesdays, and this place was closed, so I needed to get 2 shows in for those weeks for you Topic Time fans, of which there are many. And tonight, we have a Friday show. The gentleman here is a filmmaker. He's a fire inspector. Apparently, there was some arsons going on around the area this week, and he couldn't make it in on Wednesday, so I had another great guest. But he's here today. We planned the show a long time ago. This is Stephen Lee Day. I found out he's the director of 32 films, and we're going to talk all about him. Several of the people that he's had in his films have been guests on my show, and I'm hoping to be in one of his films myself. I'm an actor as well. To be and not to be, as they say. And so Stephen Lee Day, just Stephen Day, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Harrison. Great to be here. What a great station. Love the place.
Can't ask for better than that.
This is nice. Nice station. I love it.
I love it too, yeah. I've been doing the show here for almost a year since I moved it from Marshfield. And as I said to you, I'm just the talent, not the tech, like I used to be in Marshfield. As the tech, I flubbed a lot of things, but I don't flub anything here, and neither does the staff. They do a bang-up job, bada bing, bada boom, and delighted to be here. And I've never looked back since I brought the show here. Not to mention all the great hits we get on YouTube, and I'm sure this show will be no exception to that. But I want to talk about your film directing career. How long have you been doing that for?
So, I would say just over 7 years. I started in 2008.
Okay.
Started shooting films in 2008, and all different lengths of films. Nothing longer. I don't think I have anything longer than 32, 35 minutes long. They're mostly short films, or they're commercial spots, or... Okay,
I've seen some of these short films. They're wonderful. You did a film with, I believe, David Affleck and Diane
Talbot.
Talbot. She's going to be a guest on the show too. That was a great film. That was so like melodramatic, and yet in a funny way. In a way, the people, it shows the neuroses of first dates, and it's really cool. Yeah. And the way you did it, did you write the script for that?
Yeah, I write all the scripts.
You write all the scripts. That was wonderful. David was a wonderful guest on my show, and that was great. Well, talk about some of the commercial spots too. I want to hear that. Have you done commercials for TV stations as well?
Well, I'm working on one now for. I joined a veterans. Homeless veterans advocacy group.
Okay, in New Hampshire where you live, right?
In New Hampshire where I live,
okay.
Yeah. And we have about 187 or so homeless veterans up there.
Yeah.
Quite a number.
That's a lot, yeah.
And so I've joined a group to help find these homeless veterans transitional housing,
right,
and get them reassimilated. So I'm working with a group to basically make a 30-second commercial spot to help get the awareness out there that this is an issue.
That is inexcusable.
Yeah.
Having homeless vets. I mean, they serve our country.
Yeah.
They literally give their lives and limbs for us, and now they haven't come home, and there's no place to live.
Right.
That's terrible, and I'm glad and praise you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well. But we got to stay. We want to try to stay light too, because I know that most of your films. Well, let's talk about. You have 32 films to your credit. Let's go over them. Name as many as you can and describe them, because I haven't seen them all. I'd like to. And
well, the first, the first film I made was called Roadkill, and it's just all about this woman who was hired to kill cheating husbands.
Karen Cargill.
That wasn't her. That was another actress that I worked with. I used to work in a factory, and I hired like a bunch of the people in the factory to be in these films. They loved that.
That's wonderful.
To be, some guys were big gun guys.
You know how to network for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's key.
Yeah.
So they got to bring their guns and nothing loaded or anything like that.
What kind of a factory was it?
This factory
wasn't a gun factory, was it?
No, it was a factory that. It made custom refrigeration systems. So we designed and built actually the chiller that makes the steel coat for Gillette razor blades. That was like a big customer of ours.
Okay.
And the factory is not, it's not, it closed several years ago, but that was a big project of ours. That was one that I worked on. So if you're using a Gillette razor blade, I probably had some work in there somewhere.
Yeah, right. But yet you had them bring guns, but they couldn't use razor blades as weapons.
Right, you should have.
Or just razors themselves as weapons. Well, razor blades. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, who was in that film? I want to know, because I have interviewed. So I've had over 300 guests that I've interviewed on my show. Many of them in films.
Yeah.
So a lot of them from New Hampshire. A lot of them from all over New England. I even had one from New York who came all the way up here. Was a film creator herself, film screenwriter. So who was in that film? I wonder if there's anyone I might know.
Well, that film was, we had trouble filming that film. It was my first experience with using cameras and lighting, and so, I mean, I had not made anything up until then. I just
Well, I understand. That was your rookie film.
It was like my rookie film,
Right.
And so it's like lots of loose pieces put together. Some of the people that were in that are Jamie Clavette. She's an actress down in Dover, New Hampshire. She's very, very good. And then there's a guy named Earl Case, and then another fellow named Jeff Ward. And Diana Deschamps played the lead killer, and she was one of the engineers in the factory. She designed a lot of the chillers. And
killing it on the assembly line style, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So so we had fun making that one, and I learned a lot from that.
Right.
You know, I made tons of mistakes with the videography and with the sound and lighting. But you know,
did you basically do it by yourself? I mean, you wrote this. Did you write the script, and then did you have a crew to help you? I mean, did you get some? Let me ask you. Let me rephrase that. You got a lot of the people from your factory to act in the film, but who did you get to work in the crew, or didn't you? Or did you just do it all by yourself?
Well, they helped with the crew.
They did.
The cast also helped. So, for instance, we made special effects of like head gunshot wounds and things like that.
Oh, okay.
We all kind of built the little squibs that we made to make the guy's head look like it was exploding.
Yeah, yeah, wow.
And
nothing. What about editing though? Nothing computer generated.
Oh yeah, I did that too.
Okay.
So I was learning how to do the editing. It was my first foray, like into Final Cut Pro,
Sure.
using that software.
Yep.
And that's a lot to learn the first time. So,
Fine.
so the second film I made, I realized I needed to write something shorter, easier. Something that was more realistic to film, and that was my second film, which was The Bride.
Okay.
Which I was very proud of that film because it won a prize. It was my second film.
Oh yeah? Where and what kind of prize?
So the public access TV stations like this one, have, all through the country, have what's called the Alliance for Community Media Film Festival. It's held in different regions of the country.
I think they have one in Medford, Mass, too.
It encompasses like Mass, New Hampshire, Vermont.
Right.
It encompasses all. So the Northeast region encompasses all the New England states, and I think New York, and I think New Jersey.
Yeah. Okay.
And we came in third out of all of these public access stations that submitted for a film, and we came in third. And I was so happy.
You should really. That's awesome.
And that starred a young lady named Sarah Newcomb, who's actually now doing Hollywood films. She's been I think an extra in The Grown Ups. I think she's shooting a film.
I've had a lot of guests on that were extras in Grown Ups.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And she also had a television spot. She was the girl for the Honeydew Donut commercial.
Okay. Wow.
If you remember that commercial during the Boston Red Sox, I think it was last year, where they're on the beach, and then all of a sudden there's I think a honeydew hut is.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that was her. She was she was the star of that film.
Okay, great. The reason listen, let me explain before we go on. I'm asking you about your guests because I'm asking you about your stars because I'd like to interview them too if they're interested in coming on. Not eventually. So, and it's wonderful that you seem to. It sounds like you're very outgoing and you're really into this, and it sounds like people you're getting really good breaks from being in your films. Which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean.
And so many people are doing that around here, and I love that.
Yeah, I think it's all part of it. Is all experience. And what I tell everybody is, I'm still learning how to do this.
Sure.
I'm still trying to perfect my craft, and I'm still making mistakes along the way.
Oh yeah,
but I love doing it.
Yes, exactly.
I love the writing and it's exciting to me. It's exciting to write a story.
Yep.
And then you send it to some people and say, hey, would you like to be in this film? And people write back, yeah, I would really love to be in this. Let's do this. And then they're excited and you're excited. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you've got this this huge network of enthusiasm
Sure.
that wants to make a product, to create this visual art form.
Well, you know what's really great from what you've already done is you've established credibility, so that you send people these messages and they know, from what they say, this guy's no fraud. I mean, anybody can just send a letter and say, hey, you like to be in my film, and 9 out of 10 times they're going to say, what's this? Who's this guy? I mean, this isn't Martin Scorsese, this isn't Spielberg, this is Stephen Day from a razor factory or whatever. No, whatever.
Right.
So apparently you've got a pretty good following, which is what you really need, and that's great.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, how'd you build up that following? I mean, at the beginning, I know how you've built it up since then, but I want to know how you got so many, just from the people you've worked with, and you expressed your desire to do films, and they hopped on your bandwagon like without even thinking twice.
Well,
because you have a very persuasive way. I can tell just by the way you talk that you can be persuasive.
Well, I think filmmaking really is, it's like project management 101.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, you have all the aspects of project. You have a scope and a schedule and a budget, and you've got all these people you have to work with. You're working as a team. You
Sure.
gotta make it work as a team. And most all of the time, it ends up being a positive experience and for the folks that are involved, and they want to be on the next film. When's the next thing coming out? So I like to do lots of little films in this stage of learning this,
Sure.
as I perfect my craft, because I think for somebody like me, I'm less likely to get frustrated with the whole thing if I keep it short and sweet. And then if you have a film that kind of just doesn't work, it's just not working out, or it didn't come out the way you like, or there were problems, technical issues, you go to the next one.
You just chuck it and move on.
You chuck it. The cure is the next film.
Cool.
So always be making films. In fact, I was on a fire scene yesterday in upstate New York. And
when you say fire, now he says fire scenes, he's a fire inspector, so he was really inspecting. You inspect fire damage for insurance companies, is that it?
Well, sometimes most of the time insurance companies. But
Okay.
sometimes
That's a long way up. I mean, you were in upstate New York yesterday, you were in Auburn, Mass today, and here. You must do a lot. I mean, how do you budget your time so that you can make these films? You're all over the Northeast, and you go to New Jersey for fire inspection too? I believe you told me you go to as far as New Jersey, right?
I've been in New Jersey for things.
So how do you manage to do all this and still do films?
Well, I know.
And you must have a family too. I've seen your beautiful kids and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a juggling act, and
Sure,
what I try to do is I try to schedule the film making for when I know. So like if my wife is working and my daughter's at school, I try to schedule it on a day when I don't have a fire scene on, like, say, a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Right, but sometimes you can get a fire scene the same day. Any day, and you can get a call right now.
That's right.
There's a fire in Bridgeport, Connecticut. You got to stop what you're doing and come down here.
Right. And I tell the folks on my film, I say, the caveat to working with me is you got to be prepared that I might have to call you and say we got a problem. And it's not going to happen today.
Sure.
But bear with me, it will happen.
But it's nice now. Is your goal eventually to just be doing films for a living? I'm just wondering.
Well, I would like to do that.
Sure. I know it's a dream. Everyone wants to be a big rock star.
At this point right now, it's all about learning and making that thing that I was watching. I don't know if you ever saw the movie El Mariachi, Robert Rodriguez film. At the end of that's one of the most famous indie films in filmmaking history.
Okay.
For a budget of $7,000, he's made, and I believe, I want to say like $59 or $159 million that it's made since in the early 90s.
Wow.
And at the end of the film, in the extras, he talks about how the average filmmaker has about 35 bad films in him before he makes his first good film.
And you've already got 32 good ones, except for that one. That's the second one, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean but the message in that was, you've got to make lots of films, and that whole Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours of something you got to do before you're really good at.
Was that shot in New England? That film that you just mentioned?
El Mariachi?
Yeah.
No. That was shot in I think in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
The Texas-Mexico
It doesn't
border.
sound like El Mariachi. Doesn't sound too New England to me, but
No. It's a great short. It's a great indie film. It was
full-length feature, or is it a short?
No, it's a full-length feature that he shot. using special effects that he made with his friends.
Okay.
And almost no money. I mean, $7,000.
$7,000. Well, I mean that isn't bad, I guess. I don't know what's considered a good budget for a film. I mean, I made an indie film. I mean, a huge film is going to be a couple of million. That's a given. I've been an extra in 2 films myself. two major films, and also a lot of indie films because of my show. I've been able to, I go all over New England, and I get to cover people's projects and appear in them. In fact, there's a film coming out, the premiere on June 7th at the Regent Theater Arlington, DJ Stand Demand, with my friend Matt Fisher, who's a great director down here. And I was in it. I did a dancing scene in I was the dance with the young lady in the wedding scene that we were doing. that's just a few things. You're
a hell of a dancer.
Oh, I know. I dance a lot of sporting events.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm waiting in line in the restroom. You get it? Waiting in a long line at the restroom. That's when I dance at sporting events.
Really?
Yeah, bada boom. Right. Anyway, are you familiar with Sarah Silverman, the comedian, famous New Hampshire?
Yeah, I love her style. I love her. She's
Good,
hilarious.
She's also my cousin.
Yeah, you told me that.
I did tell you that. Okay,
Yeah.
I always like to mention that. Well, all right, but getting back to all right. So 30. So that's your second film. What was your third film?
So then, third film was a film called The Marriage Counselor, and that was a film about this couple is having. It's another dark comedy,
Right.
which I seem to write
The best.
more than anything else. And this was about this couple that's having a relationship problem. So they go to this marriage counselor who they've heard she has a 100%, nearly 100% success rate.
Right.
So if you go to her, she'll fix the problem. But nobody ever likes to talk about what it is she does when
Okay.
they get there. And then they get there, and then they find out that she has these very bizarre rituals that she does.
Okay.
And I won't spoil anything. But
Okay, don't have a spoiler alert here.
but it was that was a fun film to shoot. That was a longer film, and it took me it took me 2 years from the time I wrote it to the time I finished it to get that one done. It was a harder film to shoot. I had a lot of cast, a lot of crew.
Wow.
The editing.
Who played the marriage counselor?
So the marriage counselor was played by, you need to get this. Her name is Adrienne Montezinos. Have you heard of her?
I have not, but that sounds like a great name to remember.
She's a fantastic actress. She's like, she can do like the comedy. She's like a Carol Burnett and Kristen Wiig all in one. You know, very, very funny woman, and smart and
attractive, I assume, too.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Let's get around here.
And and she played the marriage counselor, and she just nailed the role.
She nailed it, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and then the couple was played by a young lady named Vanessa Lee.
I know Vanessa Lee. She was supposed to be on my show a few years ago, and she couldn't make it in. She had strep throat.
Yeah, she's very good.
She is. I still want to get her on.
Excellent actress.
She was great. Did you see The Final Shift?
No.
John Depew film. She was the star of that.
Yeah.
And I went to the premiere of that, and that was also at the Regent in Arlington. That was on June 2nd of 2012.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, she was quite a sinister lady in that as well.
Yeah, she's also a lot of range, beautiful, can do
I
lots
know,
of different.
very talented. I got pictures of myself with her at that event, but she was supposed to be on Topic Time that week, and she had strep throat, and she couldn't make it in.
Yeah, well, she's not that. I think she's in central New Hampshire like me, so this is a haul for folks to.
Oh, sure it is, yeah.
It's a good size distance, but.
Okay.
So her and then a whole cast of other cameos with Anna Rizzo. I don't know if you know Anna Rizzo.
I know Anna Rizzo is. Yeah, I know Anna Rizzo.
She's a fantastic actress.
Have you worked with Ann Kulichik?
Yeah.
Okay, she was my guest last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
You did, okay.
I was in one of her films called.
She writes. She's a filmmaker too. It's nice. It's great how you guys can be so in sync that you can work with other people that do films as well.
Well, it didn't.
And you're an actor too, aren't you?
And I do acting, but usually it's only out of it's more out of like necessity than anything. If I can't get the actor that there are more.
You take one for the team, basically.
Yeah, if I can't get an actor for a particular shoot, I'll jump in and do it. But I typically prefer to stay the other side of the cameras. It's just easier.
Sure.
It's a lot to keep track of. So.
Okay.
But it's an exciting time right now to be a filmmaker.
It totally is.
Because I mean, with your iPhone and just a MacBook Pro, I mean, you could for free make movies all the time. I mean, I could literally, if I didn't have a day job, I could make probably a film every other day or every week or so.
I know, that's awesome.
It's just so easy, and there are lots of more.
It's easy for you because you know how to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it to save my life. I take some videos, but I couldn't make a film. I couldn't create like. So, I mean, I'm okay at editing. I'm not great at it. I've done some. But I'd need help.
I'm not great at it either. I mean, I've seen some of my editing.
Well, editing isn't like riding a bike. It's like I mean, riding a bike, you do it once, you got it down for life. Editing, you have to do regularly. If you did it every day, you could be fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know Final Cut's a great program. We had it at Old Station. I used it there.
Yeah.
I edited a lot of shows I've done on the road. I've interviewed people on the road. I interviewed Bill McLean at his house, Freight Train in Maine.
I know the name.
Okay.
I've not met him personally.
You've not met him personally? Okay. Well, because Vanessa Lee worked with him too.
Mm-hmm.
She's worked with, and maybe Sherry Collins.
Oh yeah, she's in one of my films. I'm shooting her in June. She and I Lynn Hultgren, who
I know. I'm trying to get Lynn on the show.
You got to get her on the show too, and you got to get Sherry on the show. And then
I've already interviewed Sherry. You know, I did 2 years ago. Bill McLean, Alan Dillingham in Maine. You know Alan? He's a filmmaker too. They did a 48-hour film festival film called Power Prison. I played a soldier with a gun, and Sherry played a girl that actually got murdered by a cat person played by Jessica Jake. You know Jessica Jake?
No.
Okay, she's a Mainer. She's from Bedford, Maine.
Yep.
And I interviewed her too. So I got to be in that, and I got to interview a lot of those people up there, people that you might know.
Mm-hmm.
And Sherry I wanted to interview Sherry for a while.
Yeah.
Sherry's also in Paragods. You know Paragods?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any people from Paragods in your films as well?
Yeah, I was. But I just want to finish.
All right,
that
go ahead.
So I'm shooting Sherry and Lynn and Ricky McFarley in a film I have coming up called Just You and Me and Your Lonely Mother.
Okay.
It's another dark comedy. And,
Sounds it.
And we had a rehearsal, and then the shoot's coming up in the end of June.
Okay.
And Sherry's fantastic. Sherry and Lynn and Ricky, they're just great. I just have, it's a good cast.
It is.
A nice cast of characters. They're very comfortable in their skin, and they're willing to take risks, and they are, just
cool.
Very talented.
Yeah, I know they're very talented. Yeah. I know Sherry is, she was also in How to Kill a Zombie. That was a Freight Train production, and I went to see the premiere of that at the Saco Drive-In just about a year ago. All right, what's number 4 of your films?
So let me see. So the 4th would have been. So after that one, I made a film called Marriage for Beginners.
Okay.
And that was
another dark comedy.
That was another dark comedy with. Actually, this was a lighter, kind of a fun.
Okay, romantic comedy.
Right. So that was
like a Sundance kind of film.
Yeah, it was such a long, hard film to make of the marriage counselor. I wanted to make something short and sweet and fun. So I had Anna Rizzo and an actor named Jeff Davis, who's also wonderful. And they're both wonderful. I mean, they're just terrific.
Right.
Anna Rizzo is just fabulous, and she looks great on camera, and she's just easy to work with. And
sure.
So so that was a fun comedy about this. I made this like 4-minute film about this couple that we take through the whole arc of their relationship, from the time they meet, the time they get engaged, when they get married, and then right after, and they buy a house, and they move into the house, they start having marriage problems, they get divorced, and then they reunite at the end.
All in 4 minutes?
And I did that, tried to do that.
Probably wasn't a dry in the house in that theater.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So.
But the marriage problems weren't that serious. They were more like Love American style marriage problems.
Yeah.
Remember that show, Love American Style?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I remember that show, yeah.
ABC, Friday nights at 10 o'clock. Be there or be square.
Yeah,
I know, I used to watch it.
For Friday night, so yeah.
Right after the Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch. And
Brady Bunch, Partridge Family.
Yeah. What about Fantasy Island and Love Boat?
Fantasy Island was on Saturday.
Saturday with Love Boat, right?
Yep.
I think Love Boat was also.
I was never really a big Love Boat fan, but I do a lot of good actors on the Love Boat. Gavin MacLeod, very good actor, but I don't know. I like Fantasy Island better because Fantasy Island, you could live out anything you wanted, you could have done Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island had that.
And then of course they'll have Chevrolets. The plane.
Yeah. He and I are about the same height, so we had, I think, stuff in common.
Well, you can say in his case was past tense because he died at 50.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Well, yeah. So, all right. Well, all right. Well, you get a knack for this stuff. That's wonderful. I take it the 4-minute film must have been, how long did it take you to shoot that? That mustn't have taken too long.
We shot that. I think it took 2 or 3 days of shoots to do that, because I had a scene where I had some extras when the couple gets married. So Anna is she's in her marriage, she's in her bridal gown.
Sure.
And her bridesmaids are flanking her.
She's a redhead, right?
Anna?
Yeah.
No, she's. I think she's a blonde. If she was blonde, I haven't seen her in a while.
Maybe she changed the hair color. I thought she was a redhead.
Well,
all right. Well, I know who she is, though. But go on. So
she was blonde in the film.
Okay.
And so I had the scene where I have all these bridesmaids, and then her soon-to-be mother-in-law comes in, and they have like.
Who played that?
That was a woman named Gigi Cochran.
Okay, I know the name.
She's fantastic, and she. Unfortunately for me, she's moved out west. Her and her son and her and her husband Doug and their son Keenan are all into filmmaking.
Cool. So they're all to Hollywood.
Yeah, I think they're all Hollywood trying to.
There you go.
And fantastic actors and nice families. So,
sure.
So that took like 2 or 3 days to film, and then it took me about maybe a few weeks to edit, and then we had a little screening party. And
That must have been awesome.
yeah,
All shot in New Hampshire?
yeah, all shot in Wolfboro. Yeah.
Speaking of Wolfboro, we were in 1974, my family and I spent a week on Lower Beach Pond, 2 weeks. You know Lower Beach Pond.
Lowell Beach Pond.
Lower Beach Pond. It's an offshoot of Winnipesaukee. You don't know where that is? It's right on. I
don't know.
You know, don't you have it's got right near it's called. It used to be
Alton
called
Bay.
Lower Beach Pond.
Is it Alton Bay area?
Yeah, it's a peninsula.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, maybe it's not called that anymore, but I remember I took a 5-mile walk to and from the general store just to get the Boston Globe to read about how the Red Sox did.
Yeah.
On August 24th, 1974, I have a photographic memory for dates. It was a Saturday. You told me your date of birth, I could tell you what day of the week you were born and what I was doing.
The year before the Reds, the World Series against the Reds. Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Okay, it's up to you.
No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, so that was like my 4th film, and then I made
That was the year I was in Wolfboro. You just gave it away.
74.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all right. You're still young enough to be my kid, but go on.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, that film, and enjoyed making that, and made more connections through that film. I worked with a woman named Ramona Taj. I don't know if you know her. She's
No.
a very good actress in New England. You know, that's another nice thing about being a filmmaker in New England right now, is that there are just so many actors.
Such an influx of talent
It
and
is.
stuff,
It's
I
a
know.
great place to be. I mean, forget about going to New York or LA. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of talent right in
There sure is.
right in New England.
And they're opening big studios in New England too, like the one in Plymouth, Mass, Plymouth Rock Studios.
Yeah.
And this is, well, we're going to be Hollywood East pretty soon, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever worked with Erica Derrickson? You know who she is?
I know the name.
Okay, beautiful girl. She's actually an Indian now. I don't know if I think she'll come back eventually. She's an actress. She's been in she started the reason I asked about her, I just said Hollywood East. She started this website called Hollywood East on Facebook. She's got a couple of thousand people on it now. It's pretty impressive. I'm on it too. And just people post their projects and stuff, and she's really done a great job with it. I interviewed her at her home in Malden, her former home. She don't live there now. She's in India, but her former home in Malden, Mass, back on October 13th of 2012. All right, what was film number 5?
So film number 5 was a movie I made called that I wrote and directed called Max Absorbency, and it was about this guy who it's another comedy, who keeps buying the wrong kind of feminine hygiene products for his wife.
I was thinking it had to do with tampons.
Yeah, it was a tampon / Max
Cool.
Pad themed film.
I like it.
Yeah, it was. We had a lot of fun. That was like my first foray into green screening. Which,
Okay.
Yeah, and the green screening.
That
didn't
is one,
come
by
on.
the way. We used,
Yeah,
that's
nice.
a green
That
screen.
was very
But go on.
So, which is tricky to do. I mean, if you've
I know
never
it
done
is.
green screening before, it's almost an art to doing that. Right? It's got to be lit just right. That you can't have shadows on it anywhere.
Right, I know.
Have to, you know, it has to be all uniform.
I was in a music video in Hanover, Mass, and we were using a green screen. I'd get to dance with a cartoon lizard
Yeah.
back in 2012. But okay, so this was
So,
who was in this film?
so this film starred again Jeff Davis is the male lead, and
Okay.
the woman was played by his wife was played by a woman named Nicole Lasala.
Okay,
And she's very talented.
Sure.
She's a Massachusetts-based actress, and that was great. Then I had a guy, Ricky McFarley, who played the transvestite who Jeff's character runs into in the supermarket, and,
Okay.
and gives him advice on which kind of product he should be buying, which one's more absorbent, which one's less absorbent.
wow, good
Then
stuff.
He runs into my character, and I play a mime in the
Okay, so you
character.
played it. You were in it too. You cast yourself in this.
I cast myself just as a mime, and you know.
Did
just
you make your face up with white makeup?
I did. I think I was going through a large Lars von Trier film period where I was watching a lot of Eurotrash films, and I thought just to be ridiculous.
But you know something? If you pull that off, it can be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Well, I liked it. I mean, the litmus test, I think, for any filmmaker is, do you like it at the end?
Of course.
Not does
You got to be
everybody else
you
like
got to
it.
be your own best critic. Worst critic, best, whatever.
I mean, some people don't like the stuff I write. Some people don't like the stuff I make, and some people like the stuff I like. Some people like.
Yeah, no,
but-
I mean, listen.
you know.
Even what's Scorsese, Spielberg,
Right. Yeah.
Oliver Stone, whatever. They can't all. There are going to be films that not everybody likes that
Right.
they create.
But at the end of the day, they liked it.
They like it,
which
and that's
is-
all that matters.
that's
And
the main-
if they're successful enough, if the box office gets the draws and they get the money, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what was film number 6? We're going to get them all. We're going to get them all in. I promised you that, and we will.
So yeah, well.
If we can, if you can do it.
If I can remember them.
All right.
So 6 was a film I made called Kitty Litter Fight.
Okay.
And that starred me. That was another one. I wanted to make another short 2-minute, 3-minute film. This
Okay.
one was literally, I think, 2 or 3 minutes long. And it's about this couple who has a fight about whose turn it is to scoop the kitty litter box.
Okay.
And the whole film.
I have a cat, and I'm glad I don't have to fight with anyone over that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as you know, it's an unrewarded. It'd be nice to have somebody who did that for you.
It would be. It would be, but my cat's worth it. So who was in that? You and someone else?
So that was, I cast a woman named Stacy Iwaniki. Do you know
I know
her?
Stacy. She was a guest on my show. Great
Yeah,
guest.
she's fantastic. And she's, I love working with Stacy. I worked with her like 3 or 4 times now, and she's just can-do attitude, and she's also good at doing hair and makeup. So if I have a shoot that has multiple folks, she can help me with hair and makeup for those, because I can't, I don't know how to do
That's great.
Makeup artist work is a very...
It's a very
specific skill.
specific thing in and of itself. I know.
And when it's done right, it makes the film look so much better. And
I know, it has to be done right.
yeah, so she's great like that, and her and I mesh well on the films that we've made. So that was her and I, and so it's all about it. So we have this fight about whose turn it is, and I, my character said, "Oh, it's your job."
Who played the cat, by the way? Do you have a cat?
We have 3 cats.
Oh, good for you.
So I had lots of extras there.
Okay.
I had a lot of B-roll of these cats.
You could probably get free catnip instead of cash for their role.
Yeah, well, they were all unionized.
Good,
They're
they
all
should
hitting me
be.
up for money. It's real cats are a problem. They hit you up for money, and they
Get you up for everything.
They
I
don't
know.
appreciate anything you do for them. Yeah.
Mine does. Mine came up to me today. I was having my breakfast, and she came up and started snuggling against my ribs as I was taking my smoothie, which I do every day, very diligently.
Good for you.
All right, what's number? I eat a pound of chocolate every day in my smoothies too.
How you doing with your vegetarian lifestyle and your vegan life? You vegan?
Love it. I've been a vegan 4 years, vegetarian for 33.
33.
I love it. I love how I feel. I love how I eat.
Yeah.
I'm 55 and a half now, and I think I can do another 40 years in my head, standing on my head. Yeah, it's a great. I wish everybody would do it. I'm trying to convince. I'm on Facebook.
I know you're a big advocate for.
Well, I am, and I've been a vegetarian more than half my life, and first of all, I used to be a porker. I'm now probably svelte 142 pounds, pretty lean, muscle mass. I work out at Planet Fitness 2 days a week. I went this morning. Yeah. So I consider it like a little obstacle course for me. Nothing more. It's fun. Yeah. I enjoy it. I don't. I'm no behemoth. Yeah. But I love what I eat. There's a lot of. I get good protein in my smoothies. Fruit in the first one, nuts in the second one, and almond milk in all of them. Yeah. And it's perfect.
My wife does that. My wife makes her own smoothies, just like.
Is your wife a vegetarian?
No, we're not. We don't eat a lot of meat, but we eat some.
Okay, well I used to eat. When I was eating meat, I couldn't eat just some. I had to eat a lot. But I do eat veggie burgers every day, and I love them. Yeah. And they're incredible.
Yeah. Which Planet Fitness do you go to? The one in Taunton? You've been on one?
Oh no, the one in Taunton. I go to the one in West Bridgewater.
Oh yeah.
That's right next to Brockton.
Taunton is, I think.
That's a long way from you. You go all the way to Taunton for West.
Well, when I came across from Auburn, I stopped at Taunton to come here.
Oh, but are you a member of the Taunton Planet Fitness?
Got the black card membership, Harrison.
I mean, that means you can go to any of them.
Black card means I could go to Alaska's Planet Fitness.
Okay.
They'd have to take me.
So what did you do? You went in and worked out before you came here?
I went in, I worked out, I did my routine, and
yeah, you look good. Jeez,
thanks.
Good.
Summer's coming. I got to look good.
I know you got to get good in the bikini. I know.
I do look. Yeah.
Let's go on. Number 7. What was that? If you can remember it.
So 7. I'm trying to think now. So I started making. Then I started making a series of office comedies.
Okay.
Because I was working at that time at an office down in Exeter, New Hampshire. So,
okay.
And they let me film inside there, which is really hard to find office venues. You know what I mean?
Oh, the people working there must have been thrilled with that.
Yeah, they loved it. I mean,
sure.
they watched them. So like at the Christmas parties, I would play some of the office ones that I shot right there.
Okay.
And some of them were in the films. Like our HR manager, I cast her as an HR manager.
Okay, wow.
And
this was after you were working in the razor factory.
Yeah, this was a couple of jobs after the
later.
razor
Okay,
factory.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, who was in it? Besides any people that you cast regularly?
Regularly, yes. There's so Kurt Gantrish. He's an actor I use sometimes.
Okay.
He's from up north, northern part of New Hampshire, and he comes down. We worked on a few films together. He was in my Max Absorbency film.
Okay.
Great guy to work with. And also some of the local ladies down around the Boston area. Oh, I met Kristen Grimes. I don't know if you know her.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, and Jen Fillingame, they're down this way.
Okay.
And we're both wonderful to work with. And then also a couple of Jamaican ladies, or Haitian ladies, Regine Aristilda, do you know her?
No.
Or Pauline Damas Jacob. They came up, and I wrote a script for them where my character played as this nerdy office guy.
Okay.
And he meets these, and he goes through all these different things that happen to him at the office. He tries to ask out one girl at the office, and she shoots him down bad. And
Okay.
and there's other things that happen. So,
Wow.
so I shot about 10 or 12 of those, one in a row, like every other week or something.
Okay,
like that.
so it was like a series. This is more of like a web series type
It was
thing.
like a web series. It
Sure.
was like I worked with different folks on that, putting that series together, and I used the Exeter's TV station, Access 98.
Awesome. Are
And-
they a member of that group that you were talking about?
well, whoever wants to, any public access can join the Alliance for Community Media.
Maybe they'll do it here. I don't know if they joined here or not. I have to find out.
It's just a matter of sending. You could shoot a film and send it in to them for 20. I think it's $25 fee, and you can you're entered.
Cool. All right, what was number 8?
Well, so 8, 9, 10. A bunch of them were, like I say, were.
Oh, they were all part of that group series. Oh, so we
Yeah.
can skip ahead to number, what, 14 maybe?
Well, then I started working. Then I made another 9 or 10 films with Karen Coghill, your guest. that you
Sure,
had on
great
here.
guest, yep.
I met her just about almost a year and 3 months ago.
Okay.
And she was awesome. As soon as I met her, awesome.
She's so versatile.
So
She's not
versatile.
only an actress, she's a model.
She's a model.
She was on the cover of a New York Times bestseller
Yeah.
book, and she didn't even know that she was on it until
Yeah.
the day of she was here, and she brought the book in with her.
Yeah.
Oh man, talk
Yeah.
about that. That's amazing.
Karen Coghill, yeah. So I
And
shot
she's an artist,
like
too.
9 films. Yeah,
Wow.
she's multi-talented, very smart.
Yep.
And she's also
And
good.
she told me that she said a lot of good hard words about you too.
Yeah, we just work well together, and
Yeah.
we mesh well together, and she has the same sort of availability that I have, so I know that I could pick up the phone and call her, hey, we're going to do a shoot in 4 days. Here's the script, can you go? And literally, that's what I would do, and she's, yep, I'm there, yep, I'm there, yep, I'm there.
Reliable as well.
Just
Beautiful
really
and reliable.
Yeah, and she and I made, I think, some of my best films together. I mean, and it's probably just because we just worked so well together. It's
Right.
easy to work with, and she looks great on camera, and she's also good behind the camera. There's a few
Oh
times.
yeah? No kidding. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So there are times when I'm shooting when I'm also acting on the other side,
Sure.
like in the film Killers in Retirement.
Right.
She shot a fair amount of that.
That's the one I was gonna. That's the one I thought you were talking about at first. And we're definitely gonna get to that one. We're going. She shot that as well as
Yeah.
starting it.
Yeah, she knows how to frame a shot. She did some of my moving tracking shots. She
Right.
did some of my in-close stuff, and she made sort of the sound and the framing and the.
That was the one I did
So-
see, and that was brilliant. I love
Thank
that
you.
one.
I'm proud of that film.
Yeah.
It came out well. It was picked up.
I also know one of your other actresses in that one, Virginia Schiapoletti.
Yeah.
Great actress, and she was
She
also in Paragods. That's where I met her.
Yeah.
I got to do a little blooper reel with her last summer.
Yeah.
It was fun. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that. No.
It's just as well, I guess. It was kind of bizarre, but I liked it.
No,
But-
she's wonderful. She was wonderful to work. The whole cast, was fantastic. That was a very physically demanding film.
Right.
It was Karen, especially Karen, had to do a lot of running and action work. And
Sure.
we had special effects. We had like blood squibs, and we had,
That scene in the grocery store was pretty funny.
yeah, the grocery
Yeah,
store. where-
that looked like it was. That looked like it was shot at the Wolfboro General Store. Was it?
We shot.
Because that's the store I went to get the Globe that day.
We shot at a cafe, the Seven Sons Cafe.
Okay.
And then we shot. I don't think I shot at any grocery store for that film.
Or General Store, which is New Hampshire has plenty of little country stores.
Yeah. And we actually, the guy she shot in that film was a guy named, literally shot, was
Yeah.
a guy, the photographer we had on set is William McLean. He's a great photographer. He shot a lot of the still photography.
I know who he is.
Yeah, he's
okay.
a nice guy, great guy, just a nice guy. And his photography is just phenomenal. And it was my first time having a still photographer on set. And it was Karen's idea. He said, why don't you bring this guy on? He's helps market the film.
Right.
And makes these photography shots that people start getting excited about before they see the film.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure they. Yeah, are you talking about like for the tease at the beginning, right? The credits were rolling.
Well, even in this would be not part of the film, but
Yeah.
but say so like if you're on Facebook, so I create the Facebook page for
Just pictures of
pictures of it,
still shots
Yeah,
to get
coming
people's
soon.
interested to look at, to watch. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Sure.
coming soon, and then there'd be behind the scenes shots
Yep.
of me working with the actors and actresses, and shot by William. And so he came in costume one day, and so he was one of her victims.
Right.
As you know, in the film, she kills a bunch of people.
I know, I saw it.
And I got the idea for that film. It was a French film years ago in the early '90s called Man Bites Dog.
Okay, I think I've heard of it.
And,
Shown with subtitles, no doubt.
It's subtitled, but I mean, it's a really dark but funny film about that. It's like a mockumentary following this French hitman who thinks he's really suave and sophisticated.
Right.
And and he's like, he kills people, and then he's talking to the camera, you've got to kill them quickly, and it's just the only humane way. Sometimes they beg me to let them live a little bit longer, but I just kill them.
Oh, I like it already.
Yeah,
So that you could have been the head star of that film.
So I thought, so Killers in Retirement was about basically this agency that has nothing but ladies who work, and they kill for contract.
Right.
And now they all want to quit. They
That's right. I remember that.
They're feeling guilty, and they all want to get out of it. And so I worked with her and Zafir Latessa. Do you know her?
None of the name.
Zafir, she's a wonderful actress in the Boston area.
Right.
Just a really nice lady. And Eugenia Skipolati, Hannah Heckman McKenna.
Yeah, I worked with Hannah on Paragods too.
Yeah,
I interviewed her as well.
Yeah.
I interviewed the cast of Paragods. Minus Eugenia. Eugenia, I came up 3 times last summer, and I didn't really interview her, but she was going to be a guest on my show, and then something came up, and she couldn't make it in. I'd still have to have her on as a guest. But Hannah was fun to interview, and I interviewed her, and I interviewed Cheryl Norton, who was one of the girl from Vermont, who plays the head one of the head hotties at the fire station in Sandown, New Hampshire, along with Sean Allen, of course.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Paragon. I think he's done a great job with that. I think it's interesting. It's funny. It's very funny, original. And I mean, it looks real. It looks like it's a real regular group of.
Oh, it is. It is a real fire station.
Yeah, I mean, it looked. So he's.
Steve Estes was also a guest on my show.
Yeah, and he was Chris Estes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was Chris. You're right. My bad.
He was in my film too. He
Sure.
plays the victim that she chainsaws to death at the.
That's
very
right. Yeah, yeah.
The very beginning of the film. And it was it's hard to pitch that to an actor. You say, listen, how would you feel about sitting in a chair in the woods wearing nothing but your underwear and you're duct taped to a tree while this blonde woman chainsaws you to death?
I'd be happy. I love
okay.
that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of how I look at my underwear. I just wouldn't want it to be too cold as well.
Yeah, Chris.
They have to be
nice
during the
guy.
summer.
Yeah.
And not too mosquito-y either.
Well, and it was starting to get cold too when we started filming that. The weather was starting, temperature.
What was it, like fall or late summer?
It was like fall.
Ooh, fall is tough.
It was almost November. In fact, the last day of shooting was November.
Sit in your underwear in New Hampshire in November, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
July, I'm there. November, maybe not, depends. It has to be Indian summer.
Yeah.
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 All right, let's go on. You're more you name the projects and we'll rattle them off, and we'll get through them all that you.
Yeah. So Karen and I worked on. I wrote another dark comedy, not dark comedy, but sort of a comedy drama called J.C. Warner Esquire, which is a lawyer film. And it's about this woman who's a stone cold lawyer.
Right.
And she is a divorce attorney.
Okay.
And then one day, this man who's broken, whose wife's just left him, he's despondent. So now he's having this meeting with her.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, right in the meeting, he grabs her by the face and he kisses her and he wrestles her to the floor and she.
Is that Karen also?
No, well, so Karen's in that film, but she plays one of.
Who plays the lawyer that gets wrestled to the floor?
So the lawyer is Carrie Critala, but we haven't shot the rest. I've shot parts of the film, but I haven't put all the pieces.
I'd
of
love to be in
together.
that film. If you-
And David Affleck.
Oh,
former
you're
guest,
the man, David Affleck.
he's the guy who plays the man who's broken. I shot Dave, as you know, in The Bad Good Night. Dave's great guy.
That was the one I saw with Diana Talbot.
Yeah, David. David Affleck is just a great guy to work with. Very smart. He's very reliable, very responsible.
Got a ton of hits on. Our show got a ton of hits on YouTube, and it's still getting them, even though he was on last September.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. I know
Yeah.
he's a great actor, great an English teacher at Concord High School.
And he's in demand. The only problem with David Affleck is they haven't figured out ways to make more of him, because a lot of people want to work with him, and he's you gotta schedule him. You know what I mean?
Right. He's got. I can imagine it's true.
He's that good. And just that nice to
And
work
for me, it
with,
was a
to work
fill-in guest too. I was supposed to have a musician. And I always say everything happens for a reason. She couldn't make it in. I gave him a quick jingle on Facebook. I got about 1,500 Facebook friends, and he said, "I'll come down." Boom, great show.
Yeah, there you go. And that's a pretty good drive for him down here,
Of course, people literally drive hundreds of miles to be on Topic Time, as you must have as well.
That's right. Yes.
All right, well, who are you? Let's roll on. What else you got?
So Karen Coghill and I worked on other films too.
Yep.
That are really special to me. One is called Vivian's Lover.
Okay.
Where she and I play husband and wife, and she, or boyfriend, girlfriend.
Right.
And she's basically leaving me, and she's telling me that she's leaving me for my proctologist.
Oh boy, that must have been.
So that was kind of.
That must have been ass biting. No pun intended.
And we had a lot of fun making that film, and it was a funny film. It's still a film that
Did you actually have a person play a proctologist in the film? Oh, okay.
She just tells me,
Okay.
when my character, she says, I think you should know, I've been seeing somebody for a while now, and really, who? And Jerry Levine. Jerry Levine, my proctologist, Jerry Levine. Is it? So they start fighting about whether or not that's valid for her, and so we made that film.
Did you have a line where you said, "Well, can I at least get free enemas from now on"? No, probably not. I would have thrown that in for effect. That's me.
I have other lines that I had in there, but it's probably not appropriate of a topic.
Okay, well, enema. You can say enema, but I know that's fine. You don't have to. That's true. You don't want to say too much.
So
right.
We made that film, and that was very fun. And we made a film called The Breakup.
Okay.
Which is another film where she and I play a couple where she's breaking up with me.
Right.
And this one we shot. This is literally a 3-minute film.
Okay.
And our characters are in a car. We've just gone to a movie, and we get in the car. We're sitting there, and she says, we have to talk. And then you cut the credits, and then my character's just crying. The next thing is my character just is crying. His tears, his water. Like
I guess you're good at crying on cue.
Yeah, no, it's all fake and
I
everything.
know.
But so she's telling me that she's leaving me.
Okay.
And I say, what's his name? For this other guy, I assume is another guy.
Right.
What's his name? No, it's her. And, oh, that's okay.
Oh, someone.
I thought this was something serious.
Okay.
The character said, and she said, "It is serious. I care about her." And I think that's great, honey. I think that's special. Why don't the three of us go get some Chinese food?
So who's the guy that's she leaving you for? The proctologist? Or is this a different film?
This is a different film.
Okay.
So in this film, yeah, I know. Every film that I'm in, I have Karen leaving me for somebody else. And that was a very fun film to make.
Sure.
We shot that literally. It took us, I think, an hour to make that.
Wow.
Film. And it took me maybe 3 days to edit the film.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and I edited it, I think, on, what did I use? Premiere Elements that time.
Okay.
So I went from Final Cut Pro, and then I started using, for a period of time, Adobe Premiere Elements for a
Okay,
while.
wow.
And then now I use iMovie, which is almost
That's what all the editing I've ever done on my home computer has been with iMovie, but 08 iMovie, so it's kind of primitive compared to what you probably use.
Well, I just got my MacBook Pro last year.
Okay.
And it's I was surprised, like pleasantly surprised, how much iMovie can do. I mean, it can do
I know, it does a lot.
a lot. Color correction, noise correction.
Well, maybe yours can. I don't know if mine can do all the stuff that yours can do, but I've done some pretty interesting edits on mine. Not recently, but over the past few years I have, with a digital camera I got for my 50th birthday in 2009.
Yep.
Or 2010, it was a little late, but we had to order it. All right, well, roll on. What else you got?
So what that was great about that film is,
Okay.
or what I liked, or what I loved about, not great about that film, but is that I'm from a small town in western Maine. I grew up in a town called Rumford, Maine.
I know Rumford. I've been through it many times.
So that's where I'm from, and some friends of mine from Rumford, they have my friend Scott and his wife Cindy renovated an old church up there.
Okay.
And they fixed it up, and it's now become a combination theater and dinner meeting place. It's become this fantastic venue, and they host a thing called Friday Night Live.
Okay.
And it's like Saturday Night Live with all these Rumford actors and actresses. And
They're probably hosting it tonight. Tonight's Friday.
well, no, it's like once a year.
Oh, just once a year?
But
Why
they've been
just once
doing
a year?
it 6 years. Well, it's a lot to put a show
Put it
like
together,
that
show together. Yeah, I see.
And the shows they do like 5 or 6 shows.
Right.
So I mean, it's like a regional. It's almost like a regional theater.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, my friend Scott Grissett. This is him and his wife Cindy's brainchild, and it's fantastic. So he was talking to me one time, and he said, hey, if you got any short films, we'll show a film as part of the show.
Oh, it's great.
So I sent him, I said, I don't know if you're interested in this, but this is the breakup with me and Karen Coghill. And he played it, and they loved it. I couldn't believe, I was like, and I got to go to one of the shows.
That's awesome.
And the crowd was like laughing, and I was like, it felt so validating to hear the crowd laughing, and not just laughing politely, because I think most of the crowd, I've been gone for so long from Rumford, I don't think I knew a lot of the crowd.
Well, you say, okay, so you assume that in a small town everyone knows each other, but this was many years after you far removed from when you were living there.
Yeah, I haven't lived there full time since the early 90s, so
Okay.
late 80s or so.
Right.
So I go home from time to time to visit family, but I still,
There's a place in Rhode Island called the Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House. I had a guy on, he owns it. They do film festivals like the first Thursday every month. If you ever want to go to Rhode Island, there's a lot of cool people there that come in and share their stuff. It's called Rhodeywood. But Rhodeywood, even though it's in Rhode Island, it's actually, he's dispersed it to about 7 or 8 different states. Not all of them in New England, like one's in New Mexico, one is in Connecticut, I think, one's in Hawaii. But I'm just saying, if you ever want to bring any of your films down there to show on a Thursday night, I know it could be a trip, but it might be, just shoot down I-95,
Yeah, that'd be great, I mean.
I was trying to network people together.
Yeah,
I
appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
We all appreciate that.
So
We appreciate you.
So I listen. So what? Sorry, what's your current project doing? What's your most current project that you're working on now?
So we're getting ready for Just You and Me and Your Lonely Mother. That's in June.
That's still right in the works.
And I have several other projects, that are coming up. Karen and I, in fact, I just talked to Karen last night.
Right.
We're trying to decide, because I haven't shot anything it's been come a couple of months now, and I want to try to stay my work's been kind of busy.
Right, exactly.
So she and I are trying to decide what film could we make that fits her schedule and my schedule and is easy, quick, and short to shoot. So there's several. She has several that I've written that I've sent her, and we need to decide what that's going to be.
Okay.
So there's that. My daughter and I are going to be in a film
That's
coming
great.
up.
How old? Your daughter's she's young. She's only like 7 or 8, right?
She's 12. She
Oh,
just
is she
turned
12? Okay.
Yeah.
In the picture, she looks pretty young, but okay, 12 is young, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is she your only child?
Yeah, she's our only child.
Your only child. Okay, that's good.
And I wrote a film called Claire's Paintings.
Oh.
And this is a film about where I play this British guy, and I have a
Okay.
British wife, and
Yeah.
and she plays a British, because she can do a British accent.
Your
and I
daughter can do that?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
She's very
Talented. So she's into
extremely
acting
well.
too, obviously.
Yeah, she gets her intelligence from her mother's side.
There you go.
And from me, she can
You get your
draw.
humble side.
She can draw. So it's about this little girl who goes and wakes up her parents this morning, and she wants to do something, wants to play, and the mother says, go do a painting, Claire. Go paint Mommy a painting. Mommy and Daddy are tired and want to sleep in. So the little girl, Claire, sits down, and she paints a picture of her mother and father.
Okay.
And the mother in the picture is this elegant, beautiful-looking lady, and very beautifully coiffed and elegant. And the father that's next to her is this short, dwarfy, ugly-looking eye popping out of his head. He's got fangs.
Oh, that's cute.
And so she shows, what did you paint? What did you paint for Mommy when the parents wake up?
Was your wife in it too? The film? Or
No, this is an actress I'm working with named Constance Whitman.
Okay.
Who's I think does more theater, but she and I have been talking, and I'm trying to line up the schedule for when that's going to happen.
Right. Okay.
So the daughter shows this picture, and the father is instantly, angry that he looks so
He looks so like a dwarf and a gnome.
And
Yeah.
the mother loves it, and then artist-wise, this becomes a great you know, of great things. She becomes the new Andy Warhol.
Okay.
You know, and so
Wow.
like the world is a sensation, and so.
Can your daughter really paint for real? I mean,
Well, she loves to draw and
Okay.
paint and color and paint
Okay.
pictures and stuff. Like we've always loved to do that. The whole family does that.
Cool.
I like.
You like doing it
I
too.
do like my story. I mean, sometimes the storyboards of my films are more fun than the actual film itself. You know.
Well, okay, but that's why you got to keep working on it to make your films as fun as your storyboard.
Yeah.
But the storyboards are great. I mean, okay. So what? So let me. I was wondering, we're going to be wrapping it up pretty soon. We've
Sure.
actually made the hour go by pretty quick.
Yeah.
Do you want to give any shouts out to anybody? A lot of people are going to see this show.
Yeah. So shouts out to as I mentioned, Stacy.
Stacey Awanicki, she sings my praises. I think she's great too.
Yeah. Yeah. She's fantastic. You know, trying
She's
to.
gone to Rhode Island to work with Seth Chitwood too.
Yeah.
You know, have you worked with him at all?
I've heard the name and I've seen
His
his
stuff, yeah.
involvement.
I interviewed him at his house
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. You know,
Well, it's okay, you don't have to name
think of all
anybody.
the names, you know.
All right.
There's so many.
Well, let me ask you this: what is your
Louisa Lamar. I think you know Louisa Lamar.
All right, she's going to be a guest on my show. I have her scheduled.
She was just in a film of mine called A Wake Up Call. I
Okay.
posted that film, and that's about a young woman who gets a wake-up call in a hotel room, and it turns out to be this whole other service that helps her out with her professional career.
Okay.
It's a light comedy, and
I see. Okay.
yeah, she was wonderful to work with too, and so yeah.
That's great. And of course, Karen will see this as
Karen
well.
Coghill, yeah, and yeah, can't say enough good things about her and working with her, and
Well, I'd love to have more. Well, I'd love to #1 myself, so you know. I can act pretty good if you've ever seen. Do you know who Chris Dreyer is by any chance?
no, I don't. But I wrote a film for you, Harry.
You told me that. Yeah, you were supposed to FedEx it
Did
to
I
me.
tell you what the title was?
You
How about a
and I
fresh-
were fire inspectors or something, right?
No, it's no.
That's your dream you had that you were glad you woke up from.
This is
So I ended up getting burnt up in the ashes.
You play a mob goon,
Right.
And the name of the film is How About a Fresca?
I didn't know the name of it, but now that you mentioned it, yes, I remember being cast as a mob goon. So you got the script with you?
I didn't bring it with me.
But you have written it, right?
I have written it.
Well, listen, you don't even have to mail it to me. You want to get started with it? You let me know. I'll come up and we'll do it.
You got it.
Okay, that's a deal.
Okay.
I'll say. All right.
I'm not too hard of a director. I probably won't make you cry often.
Oh, well, you can make me. I can make myself cry. Believe me, I've done it many times.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, what is your plan? Your ultimate goal for filmmaking? I mean, I know you like what you're doing. I know it's very competitive. Do you plan to ultimately, try to? You want to make a really good living at doing this and discard the other career if you can. If not, that's fine too. Or you just want to keep just having fun. I mean, I'm just wondering if as your ambition to eventually really become, a top-notch, well-known director. Because I know you're very talented, and from what I've seen, and I'm just wondering what you want. If you want to be as recognized, as famous as any of the big names that we know of. And I work with Scorsese, so he sang my praises when I worked with him on Shutter Island.
I'm not sure where it's going to go. Also want to talk about Brooke Solomon. Brooke Solomon was in my film Last Tango at the Bandstand with
Right.
Doug Decker. Doug Decker's a fantastic guy.
Okay.
Brooke Solomon, wonderful. She's going to Emerson College. She's going to
I'm
be
I'm rehearsing I'm going to model audition for a film there.
at Emerson College.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I had two 19-year-old guys a couple of weeks ago. Pedro Pimentel and Jacob Ginas. They were both filmed.
Okay, so she's worked with Pedro. She's been on
Right.
his one or two.
I know that.
of
That's
his
why I
films,
remember.
so
That's why I know her now. I'd love to have her on my show
she's
too.
fantastic. You've got to have her on the
Well,
show.
you recommend all the people that you work with that haven't been on my show. You tell them about Topic Time, and if I assume that if you tell them that you had a good time, they'll want to come in too. And if they see our show and enjoy it,
Sure.
then I'll be happy to get them in.
All about the networking.
That's absolutely right. That's why I wanted you to name as many actors that you could.
Yeah.
Because these are the people that I want to get on, and these are the people that you've named on my show that are going to see it when the link is up, which will hopefully be tonight.
Yeah,
It
great.
should be tonight. I don't know. I don't know. This is Friday. Hopefully they can get it up here tonight. And I don't know if they're going to show it in here in Raynham tonight, but and that's great. So are you planning on eventually going to L.A. or are you staying right in New England?
I'm just a state. You know, we.
You love it. You love it where you're at.
We're right on Lake Winnipesaukee. I mean, it's nice up there where we.
One of a litter of three. That was the one they threw away. You know, the Three Stooges. How could I not mention the Three Stooges when you mentioned Lake Winnipesaukee?
Well, I don't know. I guess they were at Lake Winnipesaukee at some point. The Three Stooges.
No, they were census takers, and You watch the episode, No Census, No Feeling. In the meantime, this is Harrison Young. We're wrapping up topic time. I want to thank Stephen for coming in and being my great guest. Watch more episodes, and I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy it. We're going to do the chair dance. Take care. Have a great weekend, guys.